Eleanor Dale is my name, good master. Eleanor Dale, repeated Robin, masting. Eleanor Dale, it doth seem to me that the name is not altogether strange to my ears. Yea, surely thou art the minstrel of whom we have been hearing lately, whose voice so charmeth all men. Dost thou not come from the dale of Roverstream, over beyond Starvalley? Yea, truly, answered Ellen, I do come thence. How old art thou, Ellen? Said Robin. I am but 20 years of age. Methinketh thou art over young to be perplexed with trouble, quoth Robin kindly. Then turning to the others he cried, Come, lads, busk ye and get our feast ready. Only thou, Will Scarlet, and thou, Little John, stay here with me. Then, when the others had gone, each man about his businesses, Robin turned once more to the youth. Now, lad, he said, tell us thine trouble and speak freely. A flow of words doth ever ease the heart of sorrows. It is like opening the waste when the mill dam is overfull. Come, sit thou here beside me and speak at thine ease. Then straightway the youth told the free yeoman all that was in his heart. At first in broken words and phrases, then freely and with greater ease, when he saw that all listened closely to what he said. So he told them how he had come from York to the sweet vale of Ruther, travelling the country through as a minstrel, stopping now at castle, now at hall, and now at farmhouses. How he had spent one sweet evening in a certain broad, low farmhouse, where he sung before a stout franklin and a maiden as pure and lovely as the first snowdrop of spring. How he had played and sung to her, and how sweet Ellen O'Dale had listened to him and had laughed him. Then, in a low, sweet voice, scarcely louder than a whisper, he told how he had watched for her and met her now and then when she was abroad, but was all too afraid in her sweet presence to speak to her, until at least, beside the banks of Ruther, he had spoken of his love, and she had whispered that which had made his heart spring quicker for joy. Then they broke a sixpence between them, and vowed to be true to one another forever. Next he told how her father had discovered what was a-doing, and had taken her away from him so that he never saw her again, and his heart was sometimes like to break, how his mourn only one short month and a half from the time that he had seen her last. He had heard, and knew it to be so, that she was to marry old Sir Stephen of Trent 2 days hence, for Ellen's father thought it would be a grand thing to have his daughter marry so high. Albeit she wished it not, nor was it wonder that a knight should wish to marry his own sweet love, who was the most beautiful maiden in all the world. To all his yeomen listening in silence, the clatter of many voices, yeasting and laughing, sounded around them, and the red light of the fire shining on their faces and in their eyes. So simple were the poor boy's words, and so deep his sorrow, that even little John felt a certain naughty lump rise in his throat. I wonder not, said Robin, after a moment of silence, that thy laughed thee, for thou hast surely a silver cross beneath thy tongue, even like good Saint Francis, that could charm the birds of the air by his speech. By the breath of my body burst forth quoth Little John, seeking to cover his feelings with angry words. I have a great part of my mind to go straight away and cudgel the nasty life out of the body of that same vile Sir Stephen. Marry, come up, say I. What a plague does an old Watson think that tender lasses are to be brought like pullets o' a market day? Out upon him, but no matter, only let him look to myself. Then up spoke Will Scarlet. Methinketh it seemeth but ill done of that lass that she should so quickly change at another's bidding, more especially when it cometh to the marrying of a man as old as the same Sir Stephen. I like it not in her, Ellen. Nay, said Ellen hotly, thou dost wrong her. She is as soft, as gentle as a stroke-dove. I know her better than anyone in the world. She may do her father's bidding, but if she marries Sir Stephen, her heart will break and she will die. My own sweet dear, He stopped and shook his head, for he could say nothing further. While the others were speaking, Robin Hood had sunk in thoughts. Methinkest I have a plan might fit thy case, Ellen, said he. But tell me first, thinkest thou, lad, that thy true love have spirit enough to marry thee were ye together in church, the banns published, and the priests found, even were her father to say her nay? Ay, marry would she, cried Ellen eager. Then, if her father be the man that I take him to be, I will undertake that he shall give you both his blessings, as wedded man and wife, in place of Sir Stephen, and upon his wedding morn. But stay, now I bethink me, there is one thing reckoned not upon, the priest. Truly those of the cloth do not laugh me over much, and when I cometh to the doing as I desire in such a matter, they are as like as not to prove stiff neck. As to the lesser clerky, they fear to do me a favour because of abbot or bishop. Nay, quoth Will Scarlet, laughing, so far as that goeth, I know of a certain friar that couldst thou but get on the soft side of him, could do thy business even though Pope Joan himself stood forth to ban him. He is known as the Curtal Friar of Fountain Abbey, and dwelleth in Fainton Dale. But, quoth Robin, Fountain Abbey is a good 100 miles from here, and we would help this lad. We have no time to go finger and back before his true love will be married. North is to be gazed there, course. Yea, quoth Will Scarlet, laughing again, but this Fountain Abbey is not far away as the one of which thou spokest, uncle. The Fountain Abbey of which I speak is no such rich and proud place as the other, but a simple little cell, yet withal a cosy a spot as ever stout anchorite dwelt within. I know the place well, and can guide thee hither, for, though it is a goodly distance, yet methinketh a stout pair of legs could carry a man there and back in one day. Then give me thy hand, Ellen, cried Robin, and let me tell thee, I swear by the bright hair of Saint Elfrida, that this time 2 days hence Ellen Dale shall be thy wife. I will seek this same friar of Fountain Abbey tomorrow day, and I warrant I get up on the soft side of him, even if I have to drop one soft. At this Will Scarlet laughed again. Be not too sure of that, good uncle, quoth he. Nevertheless, from what I know him, I think this Curtal friar will gladly join to such fair lovers. more especially if there be good eating and drinking afoot afterwards. But now one of the band come to say that the feast was spread up on the grass, so Robin leaning the way the others followed to where the goodly feast was spread. Merry was the meal, yeast and story passed freely, and all laughed till the forest rang again. Allen laughed with the rest, for his cheeks were flushed with the hope that Robin Hood had given him. At least the feast was done, and Robin Hood turned to Allen, who sat beside him. Now, Allen, quoth he, so much has been said of thy singing, that we would fain have a taste of thine skill ourselves. Canst thou give us something? Surely, answered Allen readily, for he was no third-rate strongest. That must be asked again and again, but said yes or no at the first bidding. So, taking up his harp, he ran his fingers lightly over the sweetly sounding strings, and was hustled about the cloth. Then, breaking his voice, with sweet music on the harp he sung. May Allen's wedding, giving an account of how she was beloved by a fair prince, who took her to his own home. Prince. May Allen sat beneath a thorn, and in a shower around. The blossoms fell at every breeze, like snow up on the ground. And in a lime tree near was heard the sweet song of a stranger's wild bird. Oh, sweet, 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 piercing sweet, oh, lingering sweet, the strain. May Allen's heart within her breast stood still with blistering pain, and so, with listening upturned face, she sat as dead in that fair place. Come down from out the blossoms, bird, come down from out the tree, and on my heart I let thee lie, and love thee tenderly. Thus cried Mary Ellen, soft and loud, from where the hawthorn shed its now. Down dropped the bird on quivering wing from out the blossoming tree, and nestled in her snowy breast. My love, she cried, then straight home mid sun and flower. She bare him to her own sweet bower. The day hath passed to mellow night, the moon floats over the lea, and in its solemn paling light a youth stands silently, a youth of beauty strange and rare, within May Allen's bower there. She stood where o'er the pavement cold the glimmering moonbeam lay. May Ellen gazed with wide scared eyes, nor could she turn away. For as in mystic dreams we see, a spirit stood he silently, all in low and breathless voice. Whence comest thou, said she? Art thou the creature of a dream, or a vision that I see? Then soft spake he, as night winds the river, those straining reins beside the river. I come a bird on feathered wing, from distant fairy land, where murmuring waters softly sing upon the golden strand, where sweet trees are forever green, and there my mother is the queen. No more Mary Ellen leaves her bower to grace the blossom fair, but in the hush and midnight hour they hear her talking there. Or when the moon is shining white, they hear her singing through the night. O don't thy silks and jewels fine, Mary Ellen's mother said, for hither comes the Lord of Lyne, and though his lord must wed, Mary Ellen said, it may not be. He nearer shall find his wife in me. Up spoke her brother dark and grim, no, by the bright blue sky, ere yet a day hath gone for him. thy wicked bird shall die. For he haveth wrong thee bitter harm by some strange art or cunning charm. Then with a sad and mournful song away the bird did fly. And o'er the castle eaves and through the grey and windy sky, Come forth, then cried the brother grim, Thy dost thy gaze so after him. It is May Ellen's wedding day, the sky is blue and fair, and many a lord and lady gay in church are gathered there. The bridegroom was Sir Hugh the Bold, all clad in silk and cloth of gold. In came the bride in samite white, with a white wreath on her hand. Her eyes were fixed with a glassy look, her face was as the dead. And when she stood among the throng, she sang a wild and wondrous song. Then came a strange and rushing sound, like the coming wind doth bring, and in the open window stood 9 swans on whistling wing, and high above their heads they flew, in glimmering flight the darkness through. Around May Ellen's head they flew, and wide and windy fight, and 3 times round the circle drew, the guests sprang in affright. And the priest beside the altar there did cross himself with muttering prayer. But the 3rd time they flew around, fair Ellen straight was gone, and in her place up on the ground there stood a snow-white swan. Then, with a wild and lovely song, it joined the swift and winged throw. There's ancient men at weddings been for 60 years and more, but such a wondrous wedding day they never saw before. But none could check and none could stay the swan that bore the bride away. Not a sound broke the stillness which Ellen Dale had done, but all sat gazing at the handsome stringer, for so sweet was his voice, and the music, that each man sat with bated breath, lest 1 drop more should come, and he should lose it. But my faith and my tongue, quoth Robin at least, drawing a deep breath, lad thou art, thou must not leave our company, Ellen. Wilt thou not stay with us here in sweet green forest? Truly I do fear my heart go out towards thee with great love. Then Ellen took Robin's hand and kissed it. I will stay with thee always, dear master, said he, for never have I had known such kindness thou art shown me this day. Then Will Scarlet stretched forth his hand and shook Ellen Adale in token of friendship, as did Little John likewise, and thus the famous Ellen Adale became one of Robin Hood's band.